Lesson 13. Character reading is one of your most practical and valuable attainments, because it enables you to understand the other half of that human equation of which you are only the first part. Self-analysis taught you how to discover your own qualities and weaknesses. Analysis of those among whom you live will, by showing you theirs, enable you to combine the two intelligently for a positive solution of the problem called your life. Yet to read the character of another individual is an entirely different process from reading your own. Instead of being inside that shell of the human body, studying at their source the impulses which move and guide it, you are outside trying to fathom from its appearance and activities the hidden inner qualities of which it is the sum. The conditions, therefore, are reversed. You are barred from the springs of action in other people by a wall of flesh which carries in its own conformation alone the only visible indications of what may be behind it. Numerous methods have been devised, especially by psychologists and psychoanalysts, for estimating from these indications the character they conceal. Humanology has grown to be a science by itself, distinguished by some very worthwhile contributions from experts in that field. The student of humanology is now able to get a fairly accurate idea of a subject merely by observing the various parts of the face and body, with respect to their comparative development and relative values one to another. For instance, a well-developed and properly balanced forehead will mark one as of a mental type, while on the contrary a low forehead topping a sturdy and robust muscular system will indicate that the physical side is dominant. Strong, clean-cut features betoken energy and a clear, exact mind. Determination is known to express itself in a square, aggressive chin. Yet very often the student of humanology is puzzled to discover that some traits written large in the features under observation are lacking in the individuals, while others only mildly represented in the flesh are decidedly active within it. Thus someone possessing no chin worthy of note frequently exhibits great energy and determination in thought and action, whereas another graced with the jaw of a bulldog may be of a timid and vacillating disposition. This discrepancy between appearances and fact would seem to prove the inaccuracy of the body as a means of reading the character it contains, and in a measure it does. But in reality there is no such contradiction as there seems to be, and the difference grows simply out of the omission of one highly important natural factor. This factor is the inability of the physical self to conform quickly to inner alterations. The human body, after a certain age, does not lend itself readily to change. During youth it is the plastic material in which the soul, or ego, outlines its own qualities and activities. Therefore it becomes strong and harmonious, or weak and ill-attuned in accordance as the characteristics and activities it embodies are well balanced or feeble. But when the individual has reached his full physical development, usually between the 25th and 30th year, the body has set in a certain mold from which it does not easily vary. The character within, however, is not subject to this physical limitation. It continues to grow and unfold as long as the individual possesses the necessary health and strength to keep his human machinery running properly. With some that inner development may proceed until almost the end of their lives, but in most cases it reaches its climax at a period between the ages of 50 and 60. In any event, the inner growth completely outpaces the physical reflection of it, and the longer the individual lives the greater the discrepancy becomes. The consequence of this, then, is that every individual becomes a sort of a totem pole carved in the likeness of a departed past. Masks, sainted or grotesque, sculptured in the semblance of those qualities which their contours once fitted, peer changelessly out from every side. Some may prove to be an empty death mask, some may still cherish the trait that formed them, some may be the cast-off cradles of a quality that has since increased to towering proportions. All are crystallized records of what once was, but may quite reasonably be no more. Therefore while the body can be taken as a fairly accurate criterion of character until the age of 25, after that time it becomes increasingly inaccurate. Circumstances may have closed down on the individual with a weak chin and compelled him to develop energy in the latter part of his life, but no outward expression of that inner change emerges into view. Clearly, then, some more constant factor than human flesh must be found to carry the true story of another person's character, a factor which will transmit to you an exact understanding of the actual self now within. This factor exists in the universal life energy whose use you have learned. In order to analyze the character of an individual under your observation, first make the contact with that universal power, and when you feel the force flowing through you, Try to sense the impression produced upon you by that individual. No human being, no animal or thing, can fail to convey a certain impression to you, because everything in nature is continually radiating its own qualities in the form of vibrations which, although hidden to our senses in general, are nonetheless registered by those more finely developed inner senses we possess. In this impression is summed up the real character of the person or thing from which it emanates, so your task is simply to make it perceptible to your conscious self. The peculiar advantage inherent in this method is its accuracy. Vibrations cannot lie, because they are the direct essence of what produces them. They are always streaming forth fresh and new, catching on the way any slight variation in the changing forces behind them. They are marred by no scars of time, no beauty doctor can raise or drop them as he can efface, no individual can alter them except by a genuine and thorough inner alteration first. Through them danger shouts its name aloud to those who know how to listen, and false pretense sounds its cracked note beyond the possibility of mistake. That is why most animals and birds, being very sensitive to that radioactivity, are often able to anticipate perils before they loom in sight. It explains also why dogs in particular are able instinctively to perceive the true character of individuals where human reason sadly errs. They know how to listen in a way nature has taught, and which human beings in general have forgotten or ignored. A wholly passive and receptive attitude is necessary to catch the desired message. Any effort to project yourself into the mind of another individual succeeds only in shutting the door in your own face, because you not only put him on his guard against you, but you also close yourself completely against the vibrations which he cannot help giving out. As those vibrations, recorded on the photographic plate of your consciousness, are the very impressions which your reason must analyze for the character they represent, an exertion of willpower which closes you up like the shutter of a camera leaves you practically in the position of an unexposed film. Only by remaining calm, open and receptive can you consciously record the character map projected by the other person, and only as you pour the current of universal life energy through your relaxed physical channels and so sensitize that inner photographic plate will the impressions recorded there be clear and distinct in outline. When this process is properly employed, the character of the individual in question will be reproduced in you so vividly that you will eventually feel it as a part of your own. In other words, you will read within yourself the character of someone else. Knowing your own character through self-analysis, you will be able to distinguish between the two and to classify the impressions received from outside accordingly. A few moments should suffice for you to accomplish this work, and after several months' practice, when your reason has fully accommodated itself to that novel conscious activity, you will perhaps be able to read instantaneously the character of anyone with whom you come in contact. The one vital point to bear in mind is that you must first contact universal life energy abundantly before contacting the individual you wish to analyze. The same accuracy secured in character reading by this method is obtained in the reading of other people's thoughts. Thought vibrations are based on those identical laws of radioactivity which govern character vibrations, and the process for reading them is similarly applied. In a way, thoughts are more easily read, because their vibrations are like strong flashes of varying intensity, as contrasted to the steady glow of character vibrations. In reading the thoughts of another individual, the same passive and receptive attitude is also necessary. Simply relax and remain quietly within your mental self, because any effort to project yourself will only result in closing you to the very thing you are trying to receive. Projection means the use of willpower, and willpower produces contraction and strain. Naturally, you cannot concentrate on giving and expect to receive at the same time. Then, when you have made the contact with universal life energy, watch the impressions registered on your telepathic apparatus by the thoughts proceeding from the other individual. Let your interest be in opening and expanding the limits of your perception, as well as in deepening your sensitiveness to the incoming vibrations by the larger admission of universal life energy. Presently you will be aware of the fluid theme of impressions pulsing against that screen of your consciousness, and you will realize in your own mind the mental processes flowing from the telepathic apparatus of another. Later on, after you have developed proficiency in thought and character reading through constant practice, you can extend your range indefinitely. The actual bodily presence of the subject is then no longer necessary in order to get a true estimate of his character or to perceive the trend of his thoughts. Distance is no obstacle to vibrations, so by contacting universal life energy first and then concentrating your thoughts strongly upon the individual with whom you are concerned, you strike out a broad avenue connecting you with him across any space. Thereupon just relax into the properly receptive attitude and let that individual virtually flow into you by mental radio over the line already established. The impressions received will be quite as distinct and accurate as if he were standing at your side. While these two, character and thought reading, are the most vital accomplishments for orienting yourself in the society of which you are a part, they also imply associate functions hardly less important. They are themselves limited in that they apply only to human beings, but there are many elements bearing upon your life which, although perhaps the product of the activity of other individuals, are not immediately traceable to any specific ones. Therefore, in order to solve intelligently all the complex problems of daily life, and to profit by all the opportunities sown among these unclassified elements, it is necessary to apply analysis to them as well as to people, in the manners known as insight and foresight. Insight is the mental capacity to perceive the hidden causes behind manifested effects. In other words, it is the ability to get at the roots of things in the ordinary run of events, just as character reading is the ability to get at the roots of appearances and traits in human beings. Its value lies in the fact that it enables you to discover opportunities that others cannot see, and also to detect and avoid dangers to which those in whom insight is undeveloped are blind. Foresight, on the other hand, is the ability to correlate what insight has revealed, and through that correlation to foresee conditions or events. It enables you to draw right conclusions, to forecast effects which are to happen in the future by causes which are now in process of starting or which have started in the past. Through foresight you can create and guide your own future destiny by starting now causes which, caught in the constantly moving film of events, will someday emerge inevitably into your life as present effects. In the development of these two faculties, as in everything else, universal life energy will be of invaluable assistance to you. That is the one force which can carry you out of the shell of your human limitations and conduct you to the very end you are seeking. Therefore, if you desire to pierce the mystery of visible happenings and unravel the causal roots from which they sprang, make the contact with that great power and let its propelling energy sweep you mentally into the unseen regions where those causes dwell. Or, if foresight into the future is required, let your glance soar winged with the force of the universe far above surrounding obstacles and limitations, until the unrolling horizons fall back from the clear goal to which you aspire. The effect of universal life energy in stimulating your faculties of insight and foresight is repeated in its contact with all other mental qualities. Development of one commands the sympathetic development of the rest also, because the harmonious nature of the life force will not permit it to tolerate an ill-balanced growth. Therefore, in concentrating it upon a particular one of your many mental endowments, you really enable it to do you an incidental service of infinitely more value than the achievement of your immediate object. It welds the varied units of your mind into a compact and well-poised whole, imparting to you that mental equilibrium without which true mental mastery cannot be obtained. The gradual attainment of this mental mastery through the operation on your faculties of universal life energy is reflected outwardly in the increased efficiency of your thought processes. Not only does your thought become more clear, precise and powerful, but the logic of your reason gains purpose and direction. The development of common sense, the quality which enables you to make the best use of present conditions, is fortified and adjusted in its growth by the development of all subordinate qualities which bear any relation to it. That cluster then exchanges mutual support with the neighboring chief mental groups, which are all similarly responding to the basic stimulus of universal life energy. And the whole movement of readjustment, change and increase tends toward the emergence of one key quality dominating all: law. Law is the element which, as an aspect of universal life energy, is called truth. Thus law and truth are synonymous, and although they are commonly regarded as an abstract concept, of a nature too ethical to be very substantial, they are in fact a concrete, definite power of universal import. Human laws are abstract until they are put into active application, but universal law is in operation continuously everywhere, throughout eternity. It can function only as long as it is true to itself, yet it is never anything else because it is one with the perfect power which it governs. Absolute truth, or universal law, is therefore a distinct physical force characterized by certain results which it produces wherever it touches. Foremost of these is order, which means that it disentangles, removes obstacles, simplifies and systematizes everywhere it goes. Whenever you contact universal life energy, you admit also its aspect of truth, just as you admit the other three of its four main aspects: life, intelligence and love or harmony. Thus you introduce into your mind a concrete, pervasive power conducive to order. The elements of order, however, are not brought in by universal life energy, but are already present in an unmanifested condition. What absolute truth does is simply to act as an outside stimulus which calls forth a response from that corresponding truth in you. Therefore you do not impose an alien curb on your consciousness, but you do bring into expression a potential order latent there. The reorganization of your mental qualities builds them up toward the standard of order set before them, and by achieving that standard establishes your mental equilibrium. The consequence of this is that you realize the greatest and rarest of all rare gifts, self-reliance. Feeling that mental balance and strength within, you cease to depend upon others for guidance and you assume the initiative yourself. Instead of molding your life to the thoughts of others, you mold others to your own thoughts. From the driven you become the driver, and in this way you acquire real independence. You merge your uncertain multiple dependence on circumstances and human beings and material things, all of which can fail you, into a single unfaltering confidence centered upon the one and only power that you know can never fail you, universal life energy. Once you have learned how to become one with it, so that its harmonizing current flows unceasingly through you, you have won that which is worth more than all treasures and worldly powers, because it controls them and draws them in its train. Everything constructive and positive derives its value from this truth aspect of universal life energy, because only where it manifests itself through order can effective power prevail. Where that great law does not manifest itself, there must be chaos, lack of balance and disharmony. In such a state there can be no utility, no creative service to a good end, any more than there could be in the scattered parts of an unassembled motor. No matter how excellent the pieces are, they remain only a burden until assigned to their proper positions in the completed whole. By living truth, you are assembling the mental motor within you, imparting to it the ordered arrangement and cohesion which will enable it to function smoothly and to generate ever greater power all the time. By expressing absolute truth, the law aspect of universal life energy, you are opening a broad channel for the admission of that basic force itself, the fuel from which all power is derived. Therefore the more truth you develop in you, and the more law and order you thus introduce into your mind and your activities, then the more you become a law unto yourself above any human law, because you are one with the great law which is supreme over all. Very often untruthfulness will appear to promise some immediate advantage, but if your foresight were sufficiently developed you would invariably perceive beyond it a more than compensating loss. Disorder means confusion, first mental and then reflected in your physical self. Confusion must without fail result in loss of power. Thus it is evident that if you want to be powerful and successful, for your own interest you cannot afford to compromise with truth. No matter how tempting such compromise may seem, you will always ultimately be the loser in spite of something gained at first. Remember, no one can pervert with impunity the great law. It governs a power that turns aside for no man beneath its omnipotent force. No compromise can ever make that current flow uphill, so the option is clearly in our own hands. Success or failure, with or against, they depend solely on our own relation to truth. Therefore be true to yourself and you will be true to others. Be true to others and the world will be true to you. Know the truth and it shall make you free, because real truth means strength, power and enlightenment to choose your own path in this world. Practice truth, and thereby cast off the fetters of weakness and fear with which untruth has bound you. Love truth, and you will gain the treasures of this world, not merely of wealth, but of trust and honor and abounding love. Exercises. Morning and evening perform the star exercise, relaxation, silence, the mental contact continuously in all your daily activities and concentration. Then, having sharpened your mind through these exercises, apply it to the new exercise for this week, which is called observation. The purpose of observation is to deepen your understanding by wiping away the superficial crust and thus exposing to your mental eye the interwoven array of causes behind every visible effect. In its inception, this exercise appears to be very simple, yet its results in promoting the ordered, well-balanced arrangement of your faculties which expresses the power of truth are remarkable. It broadens your perception, stimulates your interest, strikes back the narrow walls of your conscious field and makes you an alert, efficient and powerfully active instrument. To practice observation, proceed as follows. Select any material object within your immediate reach as the object of the exercise, a book or a pen, perhaps. Try to perceive through that completed unit all the diverse elements and forces brought to bear on its creation. Analyze its form, its parts, its general and particular aspects, the materials used, their source and how they were shaped and combined to produce that particular serviceable thing. From the point of so uncomplicated a tool as a pen stretches back a widening vista of machinery, mines, forests, industries and factories, a fertile and teeming band of wealth and activity striking deep into the complex pattern of modern life. So with everything, for after all there is no such thing as creation of something new in this world, but only different arrangements of things already here. Try to see those many things crystallized in the one compact expression of them that you have elected to observe. Later you can extend your field of observation to the larger world of your activities. Analyze the room or office in which you work and the people with whom you come in contact. Note the changing play of life on their features, in their habits, through the creeping scheme of their actions and the little alterations in their appearance. Endeavor to get at the meaning behind things, the purpose and causes which determine their existence. In this way you will strip the skin from life and uncover the novel and fascinating world of reasons behind what are often dull and familiar surface effects. You will not only vastly increase your knowledge of things and people, but you will scrub the rust from your interest in them so that nothing can meet your eye without casting a lively and sparkling reflection in your mind. Interest responds to action, and action resides beneath the surface, not upon it. Therefore, the more you develop observation, the more interesting, vital and cheerful life will appear to you. It is one quality in which utility and practicability are superbly united with the most agreeable diversion. Questions and answers to Lesson 13. 1. What is character reading? Character reading is the analysis of the qualities and weaknesses of other individuals. 2. To what extent is the body an accurate indication of the character within it? The body is an accurate indication of the character within it, until about the age of 25, after which it loses its plasticity and does not readily reflect the character development within. 3. Is the character subject to physical limitations? The character is not subject to physical limitations, but continues to grow and change until late in life or in some cases until death. 4. What role does universal life energy play in character reading? The role of universal life energy in character reading is to convey through vibrations an always accurate impression of the character of another individual, just as the character is at that moment when it is analyzed. 5. What attitude is necessary in order to read other people's character? The attitude necessary to read other people's characters is a passive and receptive one, so that you are open and sensitive to the vibrations emanating from another. 6. How can one read the thoughts of others? One reads the thoughts of others, in precisely the same manner as one reads characters, by remaining open and sensitive to their mental vibrations. 7. What are insight and foresight? Insight and foresight are, 1. Insight is the ability to perceive the hidden causes behind manifested effects. 2. Foresight is the ability to correlate and combine what insight has revealed, so as to be able to foresee future effects from causes now starting or that have started in the past. 8. How can they be developed? They can be developed by the use of universal life energy in a persistent endeavor to exercise them. 9. What is self-reliance and how can it be developed? Self-reliance is a feeling of mental balance and strength within, resulting in individual initiative and true independence in thought and action. It is acquired through the coordinated development of all mental faculties by the use of universal life energy. 10. What is truth? Truth is the law aspect of universal life energy, one of the greatest concrete powers of the universe, whose invariable activity is to establish order and harmony wherever it goes. 11. What is its practical value? Its practical value is That it promotes equilibrium and thereby combines all faculties and things so that each develops the highest degree of constructive efficiency. 12. How can it be developed? It is developed, 1. By being always true to oneself and to others in thought and action. 2. By the constant use of universal life energy in all one's activities.